when they come in, they go, I'm too overwhelmed. Where should I start? And I look at them straight in the eyes and I say, from the beginning. I'm Brian Lipson, aka BS Option, from Brian's Record Option, and I'm the owner, janitor, hand washer, garbage taker, and etc., etc. Well, it started in 1980, end of April, which makes it over 40 years old. I started in an upstairs location down the street. It's used new records, tapes, CDs, posters, DVDs, cassettes, 78s. My business card says everyone's downsizing except for Brian. There was a little detour with the flood, and I had to start all over again. But after a year, now I have more than I had before, thanks to the community. I had a few albums up here that should have gone downstairs. It was about 10:30, and I looked down, and there's water rushing and getting higher and higher. And I went, holy shit. So I figured it was next door at the pita place where someone tripped the sub pump. And I went and I asked Dennis, there's water in the basement. Dennis, get your ass down in that basement. The water it might go right up to the ceiling. Now, when the water was rushing out, what came to mind was I wanted to get the phone number of my insurance agent. So I was going home on Division Street, and then the media came up to me, the WIG, and wanted to interview me. So anyways, I told her, well, it looks like I'm finished. I'm just going to, it's been a good 40 years, but this is ridiculous. I guess I'm going to shut the store. The next morning, the front of the WIG was Brian's Record Option set to close. And that's when the community said, you can't. And that's when someone put a GoFundMe page that raised $10,000 in 3 days. Everyone would come up to me with checks and money and put it in my pocket. There were 3 benefits for the store. I guess the community had my back. But after the interview, I came back to the store and I noticed, well, I've lost a third of my store, but 70% is still fine. So, I knew I was going to continue. And on the other side of Princess Street, they had the promenade. And here was a disaster. The people who were going through the promenade didn't know what was going on here until they read the WIG and listened to the radio. It was a tough go because in the beginning, a lot of it depended on the landlord. I needed new floors, I needed new ceilings, I needed a lot of things that I couldn't handle. It took him a while to come on board. He lent me his carpenter, and who I've used a few times before, and he was terrific. I mean, he was responsible for most of this, for all of this. So I was away for 8 months, and then COVID started, and I went, shit. And I swore, I don't care, I'm gonna remain open. And I was, just before I was deemed unessential, a lot of stores were closing voluntarily. And I swore I wouldn't close. But I noticed my totals were getting lower and lower. And it was as if I had just opened and no one knew I existed. So then I was closed for 2 months. I was isolated at the farm. And it was, I haven't had a vacation in so long, so it was a nice vacation. But I wanted to connect with customers. I started writing a story every night about the store, funny things that happened in the store, or myself, and other things. After a few weeks, people were saying I should write a book, and I would respond, well, you're getting it for free, so why complain? My wife said, what happens if you're not here anymore? What should I do with the store? Should I sell it? And I told her, well, you can do whatever you want, but I'd rather you not sell it. I'd rather you just get an auctioneer and let them get rid of everything. And Brian's Record Option would just disappear into thin air as if it never was before. And it's in people's minds. And that's how legends get made. And it's all in people's minds. And, What can I say?